Alright, so today's adventure brings us to the museum at the lowest point on Earth. And first we're going to go in here and explore this totally awesome museum. And then once we're done with the museum, we're going to get in our car and drive up to that little building you see at the side of the hill up there. And what that building is Lot's Cave from the biblical Sodom and Gomorrah story. As we enter the museum, the first thing we're greeted with is a display for the first people who lived in this area over 13,000 years ago, even though the first civilizations didn't really pop up until about 5,000 years ago. And as you look around the rest of the museum, you see there's a lot of artifacts that were discovered around this area as well as in Lot's Cave. And there are banners and signs up throughout the museum that talk about the cave itself, the story of Lot, as well as the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. And there are certain things that have brought credence to Sodom and Gomorrah really existing. And in this area, alongside Lot's Cave, which was identified through a mosaic in an ancient city called Madaba, which itself is 4,000 years old, are human remains in a very large cemetery that housed thousands of remains. And archaeologists have recovered a lot of those remains out of the cemetery in order to preserve them before looters could come in and destroy more of those areas. And as you continue through this museum, you see more and more ancient artifacts, including on this banner here to our left, the story about that cemetery that I just spoke about. And you also see some mosaic tile work from the church that was up the hill. Alright, so now we've driven as high as we can toward Lot's Cave in the car. And we're going to begin climbing these stairs right here to go up to the cave itself. So hopefully I survive this stair climb. And once I'm all the way up, we'll take a look at the cave itself. So before we started this journey, I may have invited my friend Rich to come along, and I told him that we can drive almost all the way up to Lot's Cave. And then there's just a few just a few steps that we have to walk up. And somehow he feels that I misled him.
Yeah,
just a tiny little bit.
You truly misled.
Alright, so now we've made it up to the remains of an old Christian church that was built here at Lot's Cave. And what you're looking at right now is the former arched entryway to the ruins of this church. But look at the incredible view of the Jordan Valley. This is also known as the Great Rift Valley. And there's the Dead Sea in front of us, and Israel/Palestine's West Bank just on the other side. And now we're going to go up these rickety, perfectly safe steps to explore these ruins and see Lot's Cave itself. What we see here is an ancient cistern where they stored water for the church that was built here. And it was natural rainwater collected as it was running down the mountainside. And in front of us is the altar of the old church. And under the dirt here at our feet, we see the remains of some of the old mosaic tile work. And over here we have two more cisterns, which were actually used in this one for children's graves and for other burials up here. At one time they held water but were turned into graves. And now here's the entrance to Lot's Cave itself. And as far as the cave itself is concerned, it no longer runs very deep, as this is where it's collapsed, right back here. And now I'm going to try to climb back up this wall without hurting myself. I'm sure I can do it. Okay, I made it. And now we're exiting Lot's Cave.